Hi everybody, welcome back to Movie News with the Fish. I'm a little late with this. I've been on set for the past 2 days. Late, not overly late, but early wake calls. The wake calls. I am very tired at the moment, folks. Early wake up calls. Early, gotta get there and early in the morning, and I haven't got a lot of sleep in the last 2 days, so I'm trying to had to work that schedule out. But I said I would do this. Still keep doing the movie news, get that updated. It's not going to actually be every weekend that I'm going to be on set, so I'll be able to do some regularly scheduled programming. So forgive me if I'm a little jumbled. I am very tired, but I will still do my movie news. So I'll just get to it. We'll start with this. Brett. Oh, I can't recall the actor's name off the top of my head. I should have wrote that down, but. He is an actor who is slated to appear in the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie coming next year, I believe. Now, I believe it's either next year or 2017, one of the two. They start, I think, in February, they said, so probably next year. So, Pirates of the Caribbean 5, I believe it's called Dead Men Tell No Tales, comes out in 2016. Now, he's come out and stated a little bit what the plot kind of is. And the plot is... or so he says, at least kind of idea is it's about a boy trying to reconnect with his father who is under the curse of Davy Jones. So essentially it's Will's Turner's son trying to not reconcile, but save his dad from being Davy Jones, basically. Save him from just only coming online for one day out of 10 years, which is a shitty gig. But someone's got to do it. Little Rebo man for there. So yeah, to go back a little bit is that Will Turner, Orlando Bloom was interviewed a little while ago talking about the fact that he's actually possibly in talks to return for Pirates of the Caribbean 5. Now, when I hear this, I'm like, I don't really want to deal with that, and I hear this plot, and that being said, he wasn't sure about that, and from the way they make this sound, it's very possible that it could go either way right now, whether he could appear, whether he's just going to be referenced, or if he's actually going to be in the movie. But what do I think of the idea for that plot? I don't like that. I'll be honest. I don't like that idea at all. Give me 1 second. I just want to adjust that a bit. And here's why I don't like that. Not because that's not a decent concept for a movie, but we've already done that. Minus the fact it wasn't Davy Jones. Well, first off, we've already done that. Will saved his dad from Davy Jones's curse, from being part of the crew if he wanted to. Now, granted, he took up the mantle of Davy Jones, and that's a good question if his dad will still be in the movie, or granddad. Will's dad, and Will Jr.'s granddad, but played by something Skarsgård. I don't like that for that reason. First off, we've already seen that, but also I'm done with the Will Turner character. I'm done with the Elizabeth Swann character, assuming they bring her back if that is the case. I'm done with that. That lost its steam for me midway through the second one. And just to go by real quick, the first one is my favorite Pirates of the Caribbean. I think they're all fine in that for who they are. And, Johnny Depp's great. He's the one that stole the show. Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley, for what it's worth, are actually good in the film. But the second one, I can't say I overly hate it, but it is my least favorite of them all. That one is the most long-winded, bloated, and just dragging of them all. It gets boring to watch at points. Third one I like a little better, but it's because they just kind of quicken the pace, giant climax, everything like that. I'll honestly say I think I like the fourth one better, because if it's just a standalone tale that takes place a little after the events of, say, the first one or something like that, I can live with that. In fact, you could have probably made the fourth one. I mean, changed a few things up in the first one, but you could have honestly made the fourth one the sequel to the first one, and that would have worked. In all honesty, I think. Changed some stuff around, absolutely. Will and Elizabeth got married, all that stuff. So you could have made that work completely. I know not everyone liked the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean. not gonna blame you for not liking it. It's a preference thing, but I do. So that's how I kind of rank the Pirates in my. It's the first, fourth, third, and second one. Now I've heard there's been rumors circulating this movie for a little bit. Like Christoph Waltz is said to possibly be like a ghost pirate as the villain, but I don't know if that's confirmed yet or not. If it is, going on him, he's going to be the villain in the next Bond movie as well. So he's going to have a nice busy slate. He just had Big Eyes, which I did not get to see unfortunately, but what you gonna do? So he that's great, but it worked in the first one because that was the way the first one worked. But I just don't care about the Will Turner character anymore. I don't care about that relationship anymore. That relationship ran its course. It finished in the third one. That's why we didn't have those characters in the fourth one, because they were done. I don't want to return to these characters. I really don't. Because after the first one, the Will Turner character just started to bug this shit out of me more and more. The Elizabeth Swann character, while less, still started to get on my nerves, because it was both the same thing over and over again. I gotta save my father, but Elizabeth, go save my father. Will, I don't know what. Their character development just kind of sucked after a while. It didn't, because there was no real evolution. I mean, Elizabeth had a little bit in the third one, but that was it. I just couldn't care. Jack Sparrow has a better character development, because he's trying to get the pearl back, and we see different sides of the character. Then we see why he has the pearl in the first place. Davy Jones rose it from the grave, and he's afraid to die, obviously, like many people are. But we see kind of give an idea of his mentality in that sense. Third one expands on that a bit more, and just his realization and coming to trying to save the world as is. Then the whole Fountain of Youth storyline with his history with that, and then everything. I liked, and Barbossa. Honestly, once you hit the second one, the only ones who have any sort of real decent character development are, and I'm using the term decent loosely. I know Jack Sparrow's maybe not the greatest character, because he's kind of just going through the motions. But yeah, it's just the only Barbossa and Depp, I think, are the only ones who have any sort of real change in character after a while. That's of any entertaining value, I think. So yeah, I don't necessarily like this. I will end up seeing it because I did enjoy the fourth one, surprisingly. At least I did. There's some good scenes. Ian McShane's great. The mermaid scene was cool. So the twist on the fountain they did was really fun, I thought. Or not fun, but it was an interesting twist on the Fountain of Youth. So I enjoyed that. So I went on a bit longer than that, but let's just continue. Now, in another interview, I can't remember his name, but the fight choreographer for Batman v Superman, came out in an interview recently and stated the following: that the combat we're going to see in Batman v Superman is going to be very different from any other interpretation of Batman we've seen. And I'm paraphrasing the statement he's using, but in all the fights and everything, and Batman his vision has always been this guy who's so prepared in martial arts that he will basically be prepared for any situation or adapt to any situation. So when he and Superman first meet, it's a very smart way that their confrontation will go down, even though it's to his disadvantage, and how Batman ultimately comes to be able to fight him on equal ground apparently isn't set in a very realistic, believable way in some shape or form. Now I read this, and I'm like, fucking great, yeah. You can only make me so much more excited for this than I already am. And it just bumps me up just a little bit more. Because, yeah, I mean, the Nolan fights I don't think are bad. They're very stiff. I mean, examples of the fights I think were good. The two different fights between him and Bane in Dark Knight Rises were really well choreographed and really well executed. The fight between him and Liam Neeson, Ra's al Ghul, at the end of Batman Begins was really well done. But any other time he's doing a combat scene, say the Nolan trilogy at least, it's not to say it's bad, but it's very stiff. If you're because he's always just like, So he does not look fluid. He does not look like a martial art because more like boom 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 boom. You know, obviously I haven't trained in martial arts in years. I did used to train in martial arts, but I'm completely out of practice. So yeah, but he's not. He does not look like it's a natural movement. It does look like something that it looks almost mechanical, in a sense. It's not to say it's bad. Hell, honestly, the Burton Batman had better choreography in some ways than the Nolan Batman did. Especially that fight scene in like the bell tower, for instance, or in the alleyway where Batman's fighting like the martial arts expert. The way he moves is far more quick and agile than, I mean, it's very standard kind of for that time period, but it's very quick and agile comparatively to like the Nolan Batman. So yeah, I mean, that means a lot of the action in the Nolan movies doesn't necessarily come from Batman fighting people hand to hand. It comes actually more from the large equipment, Batmobile, tumbler, explosion stuff coming from that. So that's where that comes from usually. But to hear that we're going to see like the Batman, like who is the pinnacle of a human combatant. He's a one-man army in a sense. That alone is great. I can't wait to see Ben Affleck just be Batman in terms of just the physicality, the anger, the beast, the rage. Because he's an angrier, tougher Batman. He's a war veteran kind of Batman. He's seen combat. He's ready. He's prepared. He's a strategist. It's great. I love The Dark Knight Returns, which is where a lot of this apparently is being based off of, so I look forward to that. But it also confirms that the fight, first off, there's going to probably be multiple confrontations, at least 2 to 3, I would say. I'm going to probably go on, say, 2. The first confrontation, maybe an extra one, and then the final big fight between Batman and Superman. If there's only 2, then as long as there's at least 2. There's at least 2. We know that. There's going to be an initial confrontation, and there'll at least be the final confrontation. Now, if there's anything in between, that's just gravy on the frickin' steak right there. But the fact that they basically said that first off, Batman is completely at a disadvantage, but he'll try to find a way to take on Superman if he can. But the fact that they said that the way they're setting it up, that he has to make it realistic, he can go toe to toe with Superman, at least in some way, shape, or form, is really relieving to hear. Because people wonder, how is this guy who's essentially, maybe he might be a god among, not necessarily a god among them, but he's a peak human condition, but he's still a man basically going up against a living god. So how this guy can go toe-to-toe with this man, especially from what we've seen from Man of Steel, where we see just how fucking strong Superman actually is and how Kryptonians actually are on Earth. So to hear that there's a realistic way for him to do that, first off, we are going to see, because they showed in the Comic-Con trailer, the armored batsuit, like the batsuit he designed to fight Superman in Batman Returns. Obviously, it'll be a variation of it, but it'll be a suit of armor he's going to wear. The question, though, comes in, is that the only thing that's going to make it more realistic, or is he going to have maybe like is Kryptonite going to be introduced? I mean, because Kryptonite has to be introduced at some point, because Superman is just too fucking strong. He is. Because that is one of the issues I've always had with Superman, is that, first off, his character is very Boy Scouty usually. He's killed before, but he's very Boy Scouty. And he's just too fucking powerful that it makes him uninteresting. So you need to have those Achilles heels. You need to have, for lack of a term, Superman's kryptonite. You need to have his weakness. So does kryptonite get introduced in here, and like say his batsuit has a few areas where it has kryptonite available? Who knows? I mean, I look forward to seeing this movie regardless when it finally gets out. Supposedly there will be a trailer with Jupiter Ascending. I have a feeling it'll drop online before that, so there's that, I hope. But I actually don't know where I was about to go with that train of thought. I am very tired, so if I just stop there, whatever. But no, I liked all these comments. I think it's going to be great, So there's that. Final bit of movie news, and I'm going to go through this last bit real quick. We have our actual casting now for Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Storm. Young Cyclops, Jean Grey, and young Storm for X-Men Apocalypse. Now, this X-Men Apocalypse takes place, where Days of Future Past took place in the 70s. This is taking place in the 80s. So we now have a young... the students are re-emerging for the school. They're coming back in. So I'm just going to go down this list real quick. We have, for Jean Grey, we have Sophie Turner. So if you don't know who Sophie Turner is, she plays, and I want to make sure... I wrote down the name, but I was a little rushed when I did it. I believe it's Sansa Stark from Game of Thrones. Now, if I'm mispronouncing names somewhat, I'm sure you can gather who I'm actually talking about from the name. But yeah, she plays that character. I saw the picture. Just physically, she looks like what I think Jean Grey would look like, at least as a young girl. So there's that. And I don't watch Game of Thrones myself, clearly. But my mother and sister do, and I've caught a few episodes. I don't hate it. I think Peter Dinklage is great on the show. I think everyone's great on the show. The acting's really good. But yeah, I don't know much of her resume apart from that, but clearly they shows well. For Cyclops, we got a Ty Sheridan, who he's from. If you've ever watched the movie Tree of Life with Hugh Jackman, no, was that? No, that's The Fountain. Tree of Life is never mind. Tree of Life is a pretentious piece of crap. I remember Tree of Life now. But no, it's from Tree of Life and Mud. And in Mud, he held his own against Matthew McConaughey, who a lot of people used to make fun of. I don't think I ever actually... I mean, I would, make the jokes about Matthew. I was like, all right. It's like, you suck donkey ass. You can't prove that. I'd make those... I didn't hate him. I just didn't watch a lot... Just hadn't seen a lot of movies I liked him in. I'm thinking I hadn't seen a lot of movies with him in it. So, there's that, too. Up until, recently. And now Matthew McConaughey's, Oscar caliber actor. I don't think he's won one yet, but he is Oscar caliber. Pretty sure he won the Academy Award though. So yeah. But in Mud, he held his own against. I believe he was actually the lead boy in that one. So he held his own against Matthew McConaughey. So yeah, the guy's got some talent to him. And for Storm, we have Alexandra Shipp. Now, the only thing I know of her being on is a Lifetime movie about TLC. The band. I didn't see it. I heard it wasn't that good. I don't know what her performance is like. I don't know much else about her resume. But, she obviously did well enough for casting to get the part. And she looks like what I think get her hair whitened up a bit. But what a young Storm would look like, I think. So, yeah, I mean, just looking at these guys, looking at these girls, looking at these actors, I like the choice. I think it's a good choice. You know what? I'll give it a shot. Hopefully they'll give good performances. And hopefully the movie will be just as good, if not better, than Days of Future Past. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And if you want us to review something, put it in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review at some point. So tomorrow, assuming weather is not going to be an issue, I will, and by tomorrow I mean Monday, so I will have a review up for Strange Magic. Now, because I said I was able to catch Strange Magic. Now, granted, I'm not sure when I'll be able to catch it tomorrow, or if I will be, because I live in Pelham, Massachusetts, and we are basically getting a giant fucking blizzard nor'easter coming in possibly in the next couple of days. So, if I don't have that review up, I apologize. So, hopefully that won't be an issue, though. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you again.